Was Bigfoot actually responsible for taking this little boy? I'm sure you've heard about the Dennis Martin case. It's a wild story from 1969 where this 6-year-old kid, Dennis, was on a camping trip with his family in the Great Smoky Mountains. They were up at Spence Field enjoying Father's Day and the kids start playing hide and seek in the woods. Dennis tells his dad that he's got his secret spot in mind and runs off to hide, but then he just vanishes. Like, no trace of him, ever again. So obviously the family starts freaking out, calling his name, searching around, but Dennis is gone. They get the park rangers involved, and sooner than later there's a massive search operation where we're talking hundreds of volunteers, the Green Berets even. They secured the mountains, but they didn't find anything. It's like the forest just swallowed him up. Where it gets creepy is that there was a group of hikers in the area that day that reported hearing a blood-curdling scream. And another group thought they saw something like a bear or a big man carrying something over its shoulder, moving through the woods. But none of that ever led anywhere. Despite all the searching, no one found a single clue as to what happened to Dennis. This is one of those things that sticks with me. I mean, the Smokies are beautiful, but man, I think about what happened to that kid and it just gives me the chills. It's like something straight out of a horror movie, but in real life. And this doesn't get any less complex when the FBI released the files for this case 50 years later. After looking through some of that stuff, the question people should start asking is, why would something that happened in the 1960s still need to have 30 pages of redacted information of what's now pushing 60-year-old information? I'm not going to spend the rest of this video digging through those FBI files because that would be really boring, but go ahead and dig into that if you want. They're available online, and there's a lot of stuff that's taken out of that, mostly for privacy reasons and things of that nature, but it's pretty interesting. There is, however, one theory that sparked my interest that gained some traction, and this is the feral people theory. And again, this is speculative, but if you're thinking about the possibility of a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch taking the kid, you have to at least look in this direction as well. So one of the more controversial ideas regarding the disappearance of Dennis Martin and other missing persons in national parks is the theory that suggests that an individual group or groups living outside of society in a wild or feral state could be responsible for abductions and disappearances in remote wilderness, like the Great Smoky Mountain National Park where Dennis vanished. Now, supporters of this theory point to accounts of folklore about people retreating from society and living in the wild, as well as occasional modern-day reports of individuals found living off the grid in national forests and parks. They speculate that these feral people could have taken Dennis out of curiosity, malice, or some misunderstood intent, leading to his disappearance. Now, it's important to approach this theory with skepticism for several reasons, as well as any other theory on this case for that matter. There's no concrete evidence to support the existence of feral communities or individuals living in specific areas where Dennis Martin has disappeared. While people have been found living off-grid, these instances are rare and not indicative to hostile or abducting behaviors. And also, there's no experts or law enforcement that really align with this theory. Authorities and experts involved in the search for Dennis Martin and similar cases have not substantialized the feral people theory. Searches, investigations, and analysis have focused on more plausible explanations, such as getting lost, animal attacks, or accidental injury. It's also a story that leans on sensationalism, drawing on folklore and fear of the unknown rather than factual evidence or credible accounts. It can be a distraction from the perceived, real issues that are at hand. While the wilderness is vast and not entirely understood, and while there are certainly mysteries yet to be uncovered, the abundance of disappearances in national parks sparks my interest. So how are we ever going to know what really happened to Dennis? Was it feral people? Was it a Sasquatch? Was it a bear? Was it a natural phenomenon that caused the disappearance? I don't know. And maybe my mind's opening up a little bit in my old age, but there's more and more things pointing at the fact that there's a lot more out there that we don't know. And is it Bigfoot? I don't know. Is it aliens? Possibly. Was it natural phenomenon? Maybe. But the fact that we don't know is intriguing. I hope Dennis Martin is resting in peace and the rest of his family and friends have found peace in his disappearance. I couldn't imagine what I would be going through if one of my children came up missing in this situation. The guilt that the father must have felt for allowing it to happen. Not that it was his fault, but you know a father's guilt. Very interesting. And it wouldn't be as interesting if there weren't a lot more cases like this. Not necessarily involving children all the time, but there's case after case after case after case of people going missing in these mountainous regions. And there's got to be something to it. So I'm going to keep digging into this Bigfoot mystery. There's got to be something out there, whether it's Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or some creature that we're not aware of yet. I'm convinced that we know less about the world than we think we do. Is that what a shovel does? This is what a shovel does. So So hang around with me, subscribe, like this video, and I'll talk to you very soon.